Okay, we talked about this a little bit. Soapy water, I like the kids' bubbles. Works real good for me. I like a small bottle because when I'm under the coach, or a lot of times you're reaching in and you're in a real tight area, you're trying to get a fitting up in the top of a compartment or something. I like a small bottle. If you're looking for something like this, hairdressers use these kind of bottles, little small bottles like this. I tried it with a big bottle and it just gets in the way. Okay. Here's the first tool I bought to find air leaks. It's a good tool. I paid X amount of money for it. It's been well worth it. If you're deaf, don't buy it.
What'd you say?
If you're deaf, yeah, there you go. That's a good one. That's one for mine. I should have picked up on that. I use it all the time.
But you didn't hear it.
I'm sorry, Mike, what did you say? So, yeah, if you're deaf, don't buy it. You're wasting your money. This will find medium to large leaks.
What's that called?
It's a leak detector. Many brands, many prices. This is just what I bought. It works for me.
Ultrasonic
An ultrasonic
leak detector.
leak detector. Yeah.
Amazon
I don't
sells
get
one
any
from
kickback from
Amazon.
the company, so you know. This will not be successful when you're trying to find those leaks that are leaking 5 pounds in 60 minutes. You won't have any success. You also won't have success when you walk down the side of your coach looking for your air leak. This will not work. If you open the door, on numerous occasions, I've stuck it in and knew that I had an air leak. I didn't know where, but as soon as I stuck this in the compartment, I knew I had an air leak. So it's pretty sensitive, but it was a pretty good sized leak too. Just remember, everything that carries compressed air, whether it's a line, some type of component, an air tank drain, they all can leak. Everything with compressed air can leak. So when you post on the forum, I've got an air leak, where should I look? You look everywhere that there's compressed air, and you'll find your air leak. Okay. The next tool, and this is the best tool that you're ever going to make, and you just make one of these up. This is made in quarter because my coach is made with mostly quarter. I have the same, all of this stuff I have in 3/8 also, because I do have some 3/8 on my coach, but I mainly use quarter, so I brought it as an exemplar.
Steve, did you notice that quarter, whether that's the standard wall thickness? Or
This is DOT airline.
That's DOT.
Yeah, yeah. And here's a suggestion. Once you build your tool, make sure your tool doesn't leak. That's the first step.
And what would you call that?
It's a leak. I call it a leak down tester. Okay? You're going to put this. Well, let me show you. I've got a ride height control valve, and I want to know if it leaks. So what I'm going to do, I've taken the line off that's on the coach. I'm going to insert this. I'm now going to put the airline that was there here. Okay, I'm going to air the coach back up. I'm going to know what the pressure is on my gauges. And I'm going to, oh, one other step I got to take. To make sure that I'm only testing this airline, or this ride height control valve, I have to do one more thing. And that's to take the line off the other end, because if I don't, then I'm testing everything beyond this valve and putting on just a stub. So I'm going to put that on here. Okay, so now, once I put the line that originally was here on the coach to here and re-aired up, I'm only testing this valve. Once I air it up, I note the pressure and I turn this valve. And I close that off. This now will read what the pressure is on this valve. It does not read what the incoming pressure is. This other gauge will. Okay? I'm then going to note how much air using those 5 pound. I note the time, whether it's 3 minutes, 30 minutes, an hour to go down 5. Okay, so every time it drops 5, I'm making a notation on my piece of paper. That is how I test every component on the coach when I'm looking for air leaks. Okay? Now again, remember in that front deal, I tested about 4 or 5 components in a row. And I didn't find any air leaks in there when I did it. If I had, then I'd have to go component by component. Okay? If you don't do this, you're going to miss a whole bunch of leaks.
When you say 5, you mean 5 pounds? You said every 5?
Yeah, remember my sheet?
Yeah.
Remember my sheet? I aired it up to 60 because this is the pocket doors. And remember your regulator set at 60 on your 12 volt side? So I put 60, 55, 50, down to 20. Once it gets that low, once it gets down to 20, that's about as far down as I test at 20. Because if it gets down to 20, you got a problem, I might as well just fix it. I put the time up here that I started, which was 11:09 on 1/1/16. Pocket door tester at 12 volt pump. So I took the line off of the 12 volt pump and I tested. There's one line that goes over to the left side of my coach, splits off. One goes to the front pocket door, one goes to the back pocket door. So I was testing both pocket doors. After 2 hours, I found no leakage. So I moved on. If I had, then I would have to do each pocket door separately. Find out which pocket door, or if both of them are leaking. Then, if I found that it was leaking, because I can do all this outside the coach, then I got to go in and take the closet apart to do the front door. And then take some of the stuff in the bathroom apart to get to the solenoid to test that one. But I didn't have to do it. There was no leakage. Okay? That's my approach to testing components. That's how I do it.
So you start with the system and then you narrow it down per system, right?
Yeah.
Like the engine compressor, the 110, and the 12 volt.
Well, I'm not testing the engine compressor. I'm not testing anything. That
With the brake system, you're testing the
with.
110.
That's right. I'm testing the house system. That's where your leaks are gonna be,
Okay.
okay?
When you say house, you also mean ride height control valves?
Yeah,
Stuff like that.
yeah.
Stuff that you want to enter your
The
control.
brake system, you test that through your DOT test that we're supposed to do every time we drive the coach, where you feather your brake down, you see if, or you air it up, and then you see how much it drops, how much your air drops without hitting the brake, that type of thing. That test, which you can Google, and there will be YouTube that'll explain that test, that will determine whether you have an air leak in the brake system. I'm talking about everything outside of that brake system, okay? Okay. Now I got this piece. What would I use that for? Any ideas? When you're under the coach, or even maybe up in a compartment, sometimes there's, believe it or not, there's other stuff in the way. And this will get you out of the way of that other stuff. Because you'll put this up there, and you'll have your leak tester down here where you can utilize it. Okay? There's hoses, there's wires, there's all this other stuff that's gonna get in your way sooner or later. That's what you use the union for. Everybody right now should have at least one union in quarter, 3/8, and half in their coach. Because if you're going down the road and somehow rub a hole, split a hole, get a hole, if you don't have one of these, you're gonna be stuck. If you got one of these, you can fix it. All you gotta do is cut out the bad part and put it back together. Just like that. You'll be back in business and going down the road. So, some air fittings you need to have. We talked about this a little bit on this one. It's just a stub off. In my shop, I got 3 or 4 of these that are made, because sometimes I'm testing more than one unit at a time. Everything I got here, I've got in 3/8 and quarter. Okay, now this is kind of as you can see, it takes a lot of time to drain air out of your air tanks and then fill them back up to do your test. You can save time by having regulated air and hooking this into the system that you're going to test, and having regulated air from shop air. And it's just a quick disconnect that I put on an air hose. It's regulated to what you needed, what the coach would regulate the air to, and then you're not putting air in, draining all your tanks, and saves you a lot of time. Just, all this stuff was made out of stuff that I bought off Amazon.
You carry a pancake compressor?
Do I?
Yeah.
No, I don't.
So you hook that up to one of the one-time compressors?
No, I usually work at home, so I have a compressor.
Oh, okay.
But if I'm gonna work on the road,
Yeah.
I mean, I look for I don't look for air leaks on the road. I do it at home in my shop. But you could. You just tie your air hose into your shop air. Everybody knows you got shop air available. You can hook it. Does everybody know that you got air that you can hook into on your coach?
Is that in the rear?
Yeah, it's back on the right side in the last compartment. There's a quick disconnect fitting there. You can get air there. I blow off my engine. You guys do that. And polish it. You guys do that. Yeah, it's available right there. So if you needed to test something, you could do it right there in the coach. You wouldn't have to go home and do it.
Okay.
So when you're pulling off air from there, where is it? It's coming out of your supply tank?
Sure.
Okay.
Sure. And your 110 compressor's running it unless you're running the engine.
And isn't one regulated and one isn't regulated, Steve? There's two actual, there's one on the front firewall with the right rear bay and one on the rear firewall.
Not every coach is that way.
Okay.
The one in the back is going to be a 110 compressor fitting. A lot of the second ones run through a multiplier.
Mhm.
I have a second fitting that runs through a multiplier. In fact, I have a hose reel hooked up to a multiplier.
Where you could change, you could actually regulate your air from that, correct? I mean, mine has a regulator.
Yeah, you could regulate it.
So you don't,
If you're doing it on the
Yeah.
road, but
yeah.
this is not something that I do on the road.
Well,
I
being
never
full-time,
needed to.
yeah, being full-time.
Well,
is-
I'm full-time. I rented a 25 by 50 shop.
Uh-huh,
If I need to do something like this, I'm gonna pull it into my shop and do it. It's just part of full-time, I guess.
mhm.
Gotta have some place to work on it. I can't afford to let other people work on it, especially people that don't know what they're doing, like the guy that told him that he had an air leak in the airbag. He would have sold him an airbag.
Yeah.
And then told him, oh, by the way, you got a second leak I found. He'd feel good about the guy. The guy screwed him. Okay, is there any question on the tool? These are all the tools, I made these up. I probably have $30 invested here.
Do you have a list of like the how-to on how to make that?
I don't, but here's what I do have. I posted every one of these tools with a picture. Look on the forum for tools. You find this under leak detection tools. You'll have a picture, and from the picture you can make it up yourself. Nothing. If I can do it, you guys can do it. You guys, a lot of smart people in this room. So I know you can do it.